I like how growing up is just clipping your nails, even though it feels like you clipped them like 15 minutes ago. Y'all, I'm so nervous right now because I'm supposed to. Well, I told my friend, hey, I'll call you around like, in like an hour, but it's gonna take me an hour and a half to film, so this is gonna be interesting. Everything works out for a reason, right? Oh my god! Literally, he was still doing the scientist dance from the last video, and I moved his arm and leg, and now he just looks like this. So we're just gonna leave him like that. Look at his foot. Not the ankle being broken. He needs a chiropractor right away. Hi, hello. So, welcome back to the witch obsession. It feels weird to say, but I need to start saying it. But anyways, today we have a pick a card for what makes you unique. Because I asked you all last night, I was like, what do you guys want to watch? Because I was like, I already had a video in mind, but I was like, I really like the idea of like surveying people first. Keeps the ideas flowing. It keeps things interesting. And I feel like readings are more fun when other people ask for them, you know what I mean? Because I just like doing the reading. I don't really care what the reading's about. I just like doing the reading part. And also you're gonna hear my fan because my roommate turned the heater up to 78 degrees. And when I tell you I'm literally on fire right now, like I'm shooketh. But yeah, so this is kind of like the what makes you attractive, but it's like a kind of like a different interpretation, if you will, like what makes you unique, what makes you special, things like that. So yeah, for pile one we have rings here. This is this ring. I think my friend left this in my car, and I definitely just kept it. So sorry. She might watch this video. She might say something. Then we have this ring. I think I got this one from Macy's. And then we have this ring. A friend in high school gave me this. I don't know if he remembers giving it to me, but I remember. So, because I remember I was like getting obsessed with wearing rings, and then I like stopped because rings kind of get in the way for me. I don't know how people wear like 10 million, because whenever I wear rings, I be feeling like, especially when I'm like, say I'm gonna go, go to the bathroom and then you wash my hands. I like taking the rings off before I do my business and then after I wash my hands, because then it's all over the rings, and then you're like wearing that. I don't know. That's just me. That's why I feel like I couldn't get married, because I'd take the ring off when I have to go pee, and then he'd be all like, oh, so we're divorced when you have to go use the bathroom. I'm like, yeah. What about it? But yeah, anyways, if you've already picked your pile, the rambling already started. Like, before you go, like, comment, subscribe, because I'm a YouTuber now, but... And by the way, thank you all so much for the support. Like, the videos be getting more traffic. My channel just has more traffic now, and I'm just very pleased. I love how much participation I get now. How much I get to interact with you all. It's so exciting. Like, wow, guys, this is really happening. I never would have thought. But, yeah, if you've picked your pile, proceed. If not, I'm going to ramble some more. Because, y'all... The DMV finally contacted me. They finally emailed me back. They said they'll respond within a day. I was like, okay, whatever. And then I'm gonna go to the DMV tomorrow, and hey, yo, I need my stickers. I paid off my fees. Y'all have my insurance card. Y'all have everything y'all need. What else? It is so hot. I might go mess with the thermostat in a minute. I'm literally dying right now. It's 80 degrees in here. It's so annoying. But... And then, I don't really know, y'all. I have an interview for another job next week for a seasonal sales associate. And then my birthday is this Friday. So much is going on. I can't wait to start working again, because obviously, like, I'm not really doing nothing right now, but I'm not complaining or nothing, but, gotta do something. Gotta get out the house. So yeah, that's really all I have. I'm gonna go mess up the thermostat. Don't tell me what. Okay. Enjoy the reading. Hello, pile one. If you chose this kind of like mushroom looking ring, this is gonna be your reading for what makes you unique. So we have 2 oracle cards here today. I really love this reading format. I feel like it's the most coherent for me, and I'm not a big fan of change, and I'm all about routine. So until I find a better one, this is what's gonna. Okay, I'm not even gonna explain myself, and I couldn't. Okay, let's get right into it. Let's just get right into it. So for your cards, we have Astral Ascent, and we have Romance. So when I was shuffling these cards, pile one, the immediate first thing that stuck out to me was the fact that we have like a romance oriented card, you know. I feel like you're pile one, I feel like you're very inclusive, first of all, because the Astral Ascent card kind of talks about being very expansive, very, you know, open minded, I feel, and kind of like, you know, like when you think space, you think all, you know, just space. I don't know how to describe it, you know, just boundless and expansive. And I just feel like pile one, you're very unique in the way you kind of grow and you kind of navigate about this world. I feel like with the romance card, it's hard to describe, you know? And I feel like that's just it, you know? I feel like what's really cool about you is that you can't really put down your finger what it is about you that is so fascinating. I just feel like you just are. And I like, let's just end the reading right there. Shoot. But with the romance card, I also get this feeling that you're a very romantic person. Maybe you come off as very flirtatious. And I also feel like you're able to bring romance into your life. And it doesn't even have to be like the romance, but more of this sense of, you know, you're able to turn things into a more softer and more, you know, like, how do I say, pastelized, saturated atmosphere. You know, like, I feel like you would be able to take, like, a fast food trip, you know, just like a run through the drive-thru, and somehow make that a very beautiful and very memorable experience, you know? And I want to say romantic, and I say that in the sense that, like, you know, in terms of the lighting, the atmosphere, the drive itself, the music you play, what temperature it is in the car, you know? It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic, you know? And perhaps that exactly is how you are. Like, maybe you're just a very, like, attractive person. I get a lot of Libra energy from this, and also some Pisces energy. But with the Astral Ascent card, you could also literally just be very into space and things like that, and I feel like that maybe kind of translates to your kind of like appearance. Maybe you're the type of person that wears like those NASA shirts, you know, like those hoodies that have like the NASA logo on them, or just someone who is clearly very open-minded and someone who is very into quote unquote like strange things, you know, like someone who's like, I very much believe in aliens. And I also feel like you're really smart, pile one. I feel like you're able to really stand up for these things and kind of like prove your point. And I don't know, like I just get like a lot of dynamic from just these 2 cards alone, because I feel like they're so different. Granted, these are 2 very different oracle decks in terms of art, style, vibes, everything. But I feel like you're just someone who is very adventurous too with the Astral Ascent. I feel like you are, you know, if you are a Libra, or, you know, you have strong Libra in your chart, you could also have Sagittarius in your chart, but just the sense of like, I've said this before in another reading, but you're just a very down person, and I feel like that's really hard to come by nowadays. I feel like it's very hard to come by somebody who is really just down to do anything and can make plans on the fly and execute them. And I feel like you're very articulated. I don't know how to describe it. Like, I feel like you're very quick on your feet. I feel like you're very quick-witted. And what I mean by that is, I think that if someone said something to you, you always have a response ready. You're really smart, pile one. And when I say smart, I don't mean like a generic common sense type of smart, you know? Like, the way your brain works is so unique to you. You know, granted, there's going to be a lot of people who watch pile one. There's only 3 piles. But I feel like even then, each of you have your own way of processing information and kind of looking about things and applying what you know. You know, just the sense of you're able to explain a lot of things, and you're very you're very knowledgeable. And you might also be really into astrology, pile one, and you might not be in it in a way that's like very saturated or like follows the mainstream astrology. You might be into other astrologies like Vedic or like Sidereal, and I think that that's really cool about you. I feel like you are very much into, like, you're very detail oriented, pile one, and you're into things that aren't necessarily traditional. I think tradition means very little to you, and I think that just kind of plays into this whole romance thing, because it's about a unique energy and one that isn't very generic. And I feel like in that sense the romance card kind of plays it out. I feel like you have your own idea of romance and what makes something special and makes something kind of like unique, as in like whenever if you go out into the world, you mention romance to just a bypassing stranger, they're gonna think candlelit dinners, like restaurants, like on the night out, and long car drives through the night, lots of ambient lighting. But to you, pile one, romance could mean just, I don't know, walking through Target late at night, going to Walmart to get something real quick, wearing zip up hoodies, things like that, things that people wouldn't necessarily perceive as romantic. And I feel like these things that you consider romantic, or whatever it is that you consider interesting and worth your time, I think that at first glance people may look at it and be like, girl, what is this? Or people might give you kind of the side eye, and maybe people are very critical of you or very judgmental of you, and not like in a bad way, but I just feel like people have very strong discernment of you because they're very kind of doubtful about like whatever it is that you're interested in. But I feel like once people give you the chance to explain yourself or show them, it's very, you have your own way of executing things, and at that point it's not even about what you're executing, but it's about the execution itself. It's not what you said, it's how you said it, you know what I mean? And I also feel like and the reason I mentioned Sagittarius is because I feel like Sagittarius is an energy that naturally just demands respect and attention. And in this reading, I just feel very conscious of what I'm saying, and I feel very particular about it. And I feel like you just have this way of demanding respect from those, like, I feel like a lot of people unconsciously respect you, and as they should, obviously, but I'm trying not to say like as much if you hear me stumbling over my words, but I feel like you just have this effect on people and they become very self-conscious. I feel like you're just very yourself, in the sense that you believe in yourself and that you're very comfortable with your beliefs and what makes you happy and what it is that you're interested in. And because of that, you kind of obviously extend that to other people, and you're very inclusive of other people's beliefs, thoughts, all of the above. But obviously, because you have such a spine, people are very intimidated, and I feel like that's very unique to you, pile one. It's not very often that someone just demands respect but they're out here acting a fool, you know what I mean? I feel like pile one, it's not even that you are a serious person or give off a serious demeanor, it's just the sense of people naturally are drawn to respect you. And it's just like, you're sure of yourself, you have your own way of navigating this place, and you have your own interpretation of everything and what it is that makes you happy and what it is that kind of gives you that serotonin. And I feel like that's just kind of the vibe that I'm getting for this reading and what makes you unique. I don't know, like, I feel like I'm going in circles because I really want you to kind of understand what I'm trying to say here, because it's just a sense of you don't care, like you don't everything that I'm saying right now, it's, you very well may be aware of it, but it's just a sense of you don't care, like you have haters, you don't care about them. And it's just a sense of people are it's so cool how aware of yourself you are, pile one. I feel like you are just like a very sure of yourself person, like just a lot of confidence. And the confidence with what you believe in and what you're into, and what your hobbies are, and what you do for work and what school you go to. It's just like the confidence plus that is just very interesting. It's an interesting combination, and interesting in the good sense. It's just very, is eclectic the right word? But very dynamic and very unpredictable. I feel like you are a very unpredictable person, Pile 1. You very well may be a very silenced person. It doesn't matter how social you are, Pile 1. I really do think that you kind of keep people on their toes all the time, or that you kind of, like, no one really knows your next move, Pile 1. You're a very calculated person. That makes me feel Capricorn energy. And you very much have your own set of knowledge. I just feel like it's very hard to pin down what exactly it is that you know, Pile 1. I feel like how much you know is like stuff that only you know. And what I mean by that is I feel like maybe people confide to you a lot, Pile 1. If we have the romance card here, obviously if you come off as a welcoming or kind of romantic person, people obviously probably confide in you a lot. But I feel like because of that, you may know a lot of things that other people don't know. Even within your family, I want to say that you're the member of the family that knows all the secrets. And it's just, you're like a file cabinet of information, but it's locked up. And I feel like maybe people want to get secrets out of you because they know you know. That makes me feel Taurus energy and Gemini energy also. But I feel like maybe you have like a Taurus Mercury. I noticed that Taurus Mercuries are very not wordy people. I feel like you're that kind of person, Pile 1. Somehow you're able to cram loads of information in just like 3 words, You see a 10-word sentence, and somehow you just conveyed and kind of expressed all of your feelings, a 30-minute story, and an autobiography, and also a light explanation of a document from the 1900s, all in those 10 words, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like you're just so smart, and your vocabulary is very expansive and very expanded. So let's get into the tarot. Let's get some more tea. I'm using the Nightmare Before Christmas tarot deck again just because it's like that time of the year. Also, I just haven't bought a new tarot deck in a while. I bought Oracle decks, but I haven't gotten a new tarot deck. It's kind of hard to find new tarot decks nowadays. At least one that I feel called to. But I do have one in mind. But I want to get more into oracles. Oh my god, I want freaking shuffle. Wow, I really just sat there. I was like, oh wait, I'm filming. I shouldn't sit here and stare at the cards while I'm trying to shuffle them. Anyways. I don't know about y'all, but I drank this blue raspberry lemonade I bought from the gas station yesterday, and it was so good. I'm thinking about it now. Anyways, also I went Christmas shopping yesterday, and instead of buying stuff for other people, I really got stuff for myself instead. Anyways, what makes Pile 1 unique? You know the drill, 5 times. Oh, wow. Y'all seen that? We'll take that one, of course. Oh, and that one too. It's on the top, so we're gonna take it anyways. So first card, Page of Candles. Okay, that immediately made me think of like, you're a very curious person, Pile 1. You're always curious. Page of Candles, Page of Wands to me is a very curious card, and oh my gosh, that immediately just, ain't no one can get down to business like you, Pile 1. Ain't no one can get to the bottom of things like you, Pile 1. Period. We could end the reading right there. I keep saying that. I'm joking, y'all. It's not like that. But anyways, Pile 1, I feel like you're so mind probing. You might also be a very thought provoking person. I feel like the way you're able to kind of present your own arguments is very fascinating. I feel like the way you argue and the way you kind of express yourself and kind of debate with people or just even discuss with people is very fascinating. This theme of Libra is very strong in this. Oh, you might also be an Aries. We have Aries, Leo, Sagittarius right here with this Page of Wands, but I just want to say, I feel like the way you're able to kind of cover all the points and in such a short amount of time in a discussion or a topic is completely unique to you, Pile 1, you know? And this applies across the board, like for all of you Pile 1 people. But I just feel like, whenever in high school we had those circles where we would like sit around and we would have discussions. I don't know if y'all did that, but I did that in high school, and I feel like you were the type of person that was able to provide a lot of new information while still staying on topic. You're able to digress, but somehow bring that all the way back to the main point, and it provides so much more perspective. And I feel like you're just so well articulated and well expressed. And that just gives me air energy too in general, but I just feel like you're a very smart person. You very well may be like the gifted kid, but that just makes me think a lot. And I feel like people just do not want to get in a fight with you, Pile 1. I don't think anyone can really argue quite like you do. You're somehow able to like be like, okay, since you want to argue with me, let's take your perspective and let me pretend to be you. And somehow you're able to like turn the argument around and like argue with yourself, but then like turn your point around and somehow just shut them down. It's like you argued with you for them. And it's just like you somehow predicted everything that they were going to say. I feel like you also have no time for closed-minded people, Pile 1. I think that because you're such an you're probably a huge advocate for like inclusivity, so all these social causes. And you also may be a very political person, Pile 1. I get a lot of political energy in this reading, but I feel like the way you're kind of into things is kind of unique to you in the sense that you don't shove it in people's faces. You don't shove any of your interests or anything that you're into other people's faces. Obviously you may broadcast it and you might bring it up, but I don't think that you actively force it upon people. But I feel like people feel naturally inclined to bring it out of you because of that, because they're so fascinated by what you know. And I think that goes a ton of different ways. Let's pull some more cards. The Fool. Ooh. Just a lot of adventurous energy in general right here. I just feel like, you know what I mean? There's just a lot of like exciting, fury, impatient, impulsive energy right here. Pile 1, I also feel like you're a wingman. You very well may be someone's wingman, or you may be the best hype man around. And I think that with this Fool card, you're very adventurous. I keep saying that, adventurous. But I also feel like maybe, Pile 1, you're very knowledgeable on culture, and I think that maybe you come from a very fascinating cultural background. I think that maybe you speak different languages, or you kind of know a lot about different cultures. Like, it makes me want to think of like, things that have a misconception. You're able to provide context in a way that's like the one thing that I think of is I watched this video the other day, and he was talking about how a movie misinterpreted different religions, like voodoo and like Wicca, sorry, literally me being the misinterpretation, but Wicca, voodoo, and all these kind of religious things that were perceived wrong. And I feel like you're able to debunk a lot of things, and I feel like the way you're able to get down to the bottom of things, and people, if they pull up to you not knowing something, like for example, they tell you about voodoo, they're like, oh my gosh, if you stick a pin in a doll, it's gonna feel like someone got a pin stuck in them. And I feel like you're able to be that person that's like, that's actually not how it works. Voodoo is, I don't know much about voodoo, but I do know that it's not that. And I feel like you're able to argue that, and I feel like you're able to, well, not even argue that, but I feel like you're just a very good teacher, Pile 1. Maybe in school you were the kind of person that was always kind of put in charge of groups or things like that. Makes me feel like you might be a very stubborn person, Pile 1, but you might be a very good leader. And I feel like the way you lead is very set an example as opposed to telling people what to do. You know what I mean? You lead by example, Pile 1, and you're able to just demand and get so many people on board with you without even trying. it's like I get like Aquarius sun vibes, and then like a Scorpio moon. All the fixed signs are very prominent here, especially in the sun and moon signs, because I feel like fixed signs in those positions are very naturally demanding in respect. Close behind, I feel a lot of Sagittarius and Libra, like I said. Could be a Libra moon. Libra moons are so fun. If you're a Libra moon, I love you. Y'all make the world go round. But anyways, I digress. Let's pull another card. Actually, I feel like the full card was kind of self-explanatory. Knight of Potions. Here it comes again with that theme of romance, if you know what I mean. Because I do perceive the Knight of Cups as a very romantic card. That's what the Knight of Potions is. And I said this in another reading before, but I always say when I pull that card, because I just feel like it's a very romantic card. And this makes me think of pile 3 from What Makes You Attractive. You might be from that pile in that video if you watched that video. If you did, by the way, thank you so much. But I kind of said this in that pile, but if I feel like you're the type of person that's able to break bad news, but in a soft way. And I want to say that again, because I feel like the reason you're so smart is because obviously you're a good student, pile 1. And I feel like you just really know your place. You might be the type of person that's really into school, like really into school, you know what I mean? I know people that are like, okay, I got my associates, I'm going to go back to school for my bachelor's. Okay, I got my bachelor's, I'm going to go back for my master's. Okay, I'm going to go back for my whatever maybe next. You know, I feel like you're just someone who loves learning and someone who's very educated. I don't think that this insatiable urge of yours to learn and to know more is truly bespoke to you. And I feel like you've had a lot of awakenings in your lifetime, and I feel like you're able to do a lot of things that a lot of people like don't even know about. Like the first thing that keeps coming to mind is like ancestral work. I feel like a lot of people don't know about that, and I feel like you could be into that, but that's just something that popped into my mind. But I also feel like you just have, because you're such an expansive person and such a good learner, I think that translates to even the superficial aspects of your life, like how you dress, how you decorate, you know, how you present yourself. I just feel like you have a very dynamic way of, like, you just have a very dynamic eye, pile 1. You're able to make the most busy colors and crazy patterns go together. Like, you just might be a very, like, you're like a needle in the haystack kind of vibe, pile 1, in the sense that you really have your own name and interpretation for everything. And it's just like, people might be like, huh, what'd you just call that? You know, like, you're the tomato person. You're the person that says tomato, if you know what I mean, or potato. The potato and tomato. But you know, you're that person. You don't have to literally say that, but it's just that vibe, you know. You're the type of person that would say pecan instead of pecan, caramel instead of caramel. And maybe a lot of times people butt heads with you about it, but it's just like you have your own name for everything, and you have your own way of pronouncing and digesting this world. And people probably find that very unique, and that is unique to you, whether or not people find it unique about you. And also, pile 1, with this Knight of Cups, I also feel like you're very gentle and you might be a soft-spoken person. I just got this funny vibe of you're someone that speaks very quietly, but you're able to say the most outrageous things possible. I feel like I said, it just comes back down to this whole dynamic personality I'm sensing here. But with this Knight of Potions, I just feel like you're very emotional and you might be very emotionally receptive, pile 1. I get that vibe from this reading a lot, especially with this romance card. And I feel like you're very sensitive to relationships. Maybe relationships are kind of a big deal to you, and I feel like maybe you kind of have a very social way of approaching them. And I think that, not gonna lie, pile 1, people may have fallen in love with you before in the past. But let's pull another card here. Queen of Presents. You're very nurturing, pile 1. And I feel like it's very unique to you. I feel like you're able to read people really well. You kind of exhibit or at least now that I pulled the Queen of Pentacles, what it is, I feel like you exhibit and kind of exude this very motherly, kind of maternal energy, and you're very much able to read people and what they need. And maybe people have gotten too comfortable with that. I feel like maybe in your life people have gotten used to you being able to read them and kind of what they need, and so they don't really communicate that much, so that may be a problem. But I also feel like that's very unique to you in the sense that you really are able to make anyone's mood better. I feel like I said, you're able to just bring romance and sweetness and just this light humor to everything. And you're able to turn any situation, and you're able to kind of sand it down to be more mute and more, neutralized. And it's just like you're able to bring beauty into everything, pile one. Oh my gosh, somehow I'm just thinking like you'll take a windowless basement and somehow turn it into this magical wonderland of, fairy lights and tables. You might be into fairy lights. Who isn't into fairy lights nowadays? I'm gonna say that to every population. You might be into fairy lights. But anyways, just add tablecloths. You just have an eye for things. You know what to add to something, or how to contribute to make something more, interesting and alluring. With this Page of Candles and the Fool card, you're able to project that energy onto things outside of you. You're able to take something and make it beautiful. Just a lot of Venus energy here. Okay, let's pull some more cards. We have the Moon. This is Pisces energy. I feel like with the Moon card, what came to mind was that you're kind of able to bring stuff to the surface, but also I feel like Pisces is a very secretive card, and I feel like this kind of goes back to you knowing everything and kind of like always getting to the bottom of the truth. I feel like you're able to detect a liar from a mile away, pile one, especially if you have this Queen of Pentacles energy right here. You're probably also very good at managing things. I wouldn't be surprised if you're very good at keeping your head screwed on right in even the most stressful of situations, and kind of like keep things lighthearted. But with this Moon card, I feel like, you're able to get to the bottom of things. Like I said, you might be into like true crime or kind of things like that, or into like BuzzFeed Unsolved and all of those things, reading books and watching documentaries. And I feel like you're just able to really have your own take on things and notice details that nobody else would notice. And that's very fascinating about you, pile one. I just be making me want to meet you. Comment down below if you're pile one and this resonated with you. But it's just very interesting because I feel like this whole reading, to be transparent, I've kind of been mentioning bits and pieces of what you might be like, pile one, and what makes you special. I feel like there's no coherent or very cohesive way of bringing all of this information that I've kind of brought upon you together. And I feel like that's just it, pile one. Like, I just feel like you're able to make the most outrageously different things work together harmoniously and just kind of like marry them together, just a sense of like, how can you be soft-spoken and like Hello Kitty but also be into hardcore screamo music? How do you make those things work? How are you able to keep both of those coexisting within your personality? How are you able to like sour candy and spicy food? How are both of those things, how do those things exist in a duality type of way within your personality? That's just really it, pile one. Let's pull one more card here before we kind of wrap things up. The High Priestess. I keep pausing after I pull a card. I'm just staring at it. I'm like, High Priestess. But High Priestess makes me feel like you're very self-sufficient too, pile one. Again, it comes kind of, I feel it's very interesting. I feel like the High Priestess comes out a lot in these type of readings, but I feel like it kind of speaks to your unique intuition and how you're kind of able to, once again, know everything. I feel like that is the most important theme in this reading, pile one. It's like there's just so many cards and so many vibes here that give me this feeling that you're able to know everything before you even know. You know what I mean? You pull up to a party and you know exactly how it's going to go down already. You might have a very psychic ability, you have a gift probably. I wouldn't be surprised if you already read tarot, or if you kind of like are into like really into astrology and all these things, like I said about how you're kind of in, maybe you're into different types of astrology like Vedic and Sidereal. But you might jinx things a lot. I feel like you're the type of person that kind of has a bad vibe about something and you're able to literally predict it. Like, people probably think you're crazy for it. You know, you kind of meet someone and be like, I don't like their vibe. I feel like they're going to do this and this, and I feel like they're not what they seem. And people are like, you're crazy. You just met them. Don't judge a book by its cover. And then 15 minutes later, they do everything that you just said. And then they're kind of like... But I feel like you're humble enough to not be like, I told you so. You just kind of look at them up and down like, what'd I say? You know, but you won't say nothing, you know. I feel like you're a very non-judgmental person, pile 1. Or you could be very judgmental with the Pisces card here. I feel like Pisces is either A, very not judgmental, or B, very judgmental. But either way, we love you, Pisces. But yeah, like, I just feel like you're just a very curious, and you have this way of having this childish energy. And not childish in a bad way, but this very fun, playful energy while also being very serious and demanding of respect without even demanding it, you know? It's just a sense of like, you're not so serious and you're very lighthearted, but there's just something about you that is like, you should be taken seriously, you know? That is the best way I can say it. That's all I have for you, pile 1. Thank you so much for watching. It doesn't even feel like this reading was as long as it was, but... you know, like, comment, and subscribe, especially if it resonated. I love hearing about how the readings resonated, especially because when I'm doing the reading, I'm like, dude, like, I don't know who this is gonna go to, but I know it's gonna go to someone. It's like delivering mail, but like not knowing the address. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I love you, pile 1. Before I start saying that a million more times, I'm gonna end it now. Bye. Hello, pile 2. Oh my gosh, I had to refilm this because I was just sitting here and I just like went blank, and I was listening to my fan and I was like, dude, I'm so annoyed that my fan is on right now. Let me go take a sip of water and turn off the freaking fan. But anyways, if you chose this ring, this is gonna be your reading for what makes you unique. I feel so much better now that the fan's off. I don't know about you all, but I get overstimulated so easily. Like, I was in Ulta yesterday and there was this really annoying beeping in the store, and I was like, girl, I cannot shop like this. I cannot be in here. And it's just like, people think I'm a social person, but really I get overstimulated so easily. But anyways, let's get right into your reading. Same formula, how I always do the reading, same structure, I guess. But for your cards, we have Muse of Eloquence and then Anxiety. So I was ruminating about this anxiety card for a little bit, because obviously, you know, anxiety, you know, I feel like anytime anyone sees that word, our mind kind of goes through the same thing. But allow me to explain a little bit, because upon kind of like feeling the energy of just these cards, like these two cards through a little bit more, a lot of context kind of came through. So first of all, pile 2, the thing that is like number 1 in this reading already is, I feel like you're the type of person that is, you have such a good eye, pile 2. Your judgment, your criticism is like no other. Like, if anyone is going to comment on this video and provide constructive criticism that is practical and amazing, it's going to be you. But with this Muse of Eloquence card, I feel like this kind of speaks about how much you are kind of paying attention to the details, because eloquence to me is kind of about being well articulated or very well explained. And I feel like because of that, with this anxiety card, it's just the sense of nobody else stresses the details more than you. And I feel like it's kind of a curse, pile 2. I feel like maybe it is a curse for you. Not like it's literally a curse, but maybe it feels like a curse sometimes. Because it's just like, I feel like you're able to nitpick anything and pick anything apart, in the sense that you're able to like make something better even though it's already amazing. And I feel like that's both a curse and a blessing, because on one hand you're able to make anything better and you're able to know exactly how to improve something, but simultaneously I feel like maybe if you want to enjoy something, it's like, dang, like all I can see are the defects. But that makes me think of Virgo energy. Heavy Virgo energy came through in this reading, just these two cards alone. But also, pile 2, I feel like if there is an energy of anxiety here. And let me just add a disclaimer that it's not that you have anxiety, but it's just kind of a theme in this reading. The energy is there. It doesn't mean you have to have anxiety or you're an anxious person. It's just kind of what anxiety motivates someone to do or what it motivates certain people to do. And with that context provided, Pilot 2, I feel like nobody else is as good of a planner as you are. And once again, not to say that you're a good planner or anything because you are anxiety driven or anything. But it's just like you're the type of person who is very motivated to make sure things go as smoothly as possible. And I feel like Pilot 2, there's no one more practical than you. You probably have a lot of earth in your chart. And I feel like you're just such a good planner, Pilot 2, and you're just so, I don't know, like I just really want to hear what you would say to somebody if they were going through it. Your advice is just so humble and come from a place of experience. Yeah, also you're able to kind of, I don't know, you're able to kind of express hard criticism and it will be taken as hard criticism. People will feel very like, wow, like that was just said to me. But I feel like people know it's from a place of you want them to be better. I feel like you're the type of person that's able to kind of like tell someone, you're the type of person that's able to tell someone when they try something new, here's everything that you did amazing and here's also what you could do better. And it's just that sense of the fact that you said it, here's what you could do better instead of here's what you did bad. It's just you never come from a place of wanting to destroy something. You come from a place of wanting to improve something and make it better. Because you want the best for everyone, Pilot 2. And I feel like that's very bespoke to you, very unique to you, and uniquely tailored to you. And I feel like because of that, your discernment is very amazing. I think that comes through in your appearance, Pilot 2. You very well could be the kind of person that's like not a hair out of place. I think that I also want to say that you're probably very well mannered and you know exactly what to say in more professional or formal situations. I feel like maybe formal situations stress you out or more professional environments, maybe those kind of bother you, but I feel like you're able to carry yourself well. I feel like you're able to make anybody believe that you're worth their time, which you very much are. And whether or not you believe that, it's very true, Pilot 2. Like, even doing this reading, I was like, I can't have the fan on while I'm doing Pilot 2. They're going to say something, or I don't know, but. Not that I'm baking to death in here. I turned down the thermostat, but. It's just the sense of that you're not the type of person to have their time wasted. Like, you are not the one. Like, that's just all I want to say. Like, that's it. That's the reading. I kept saying this in file 1. I was like, that's it. That's the reading. And I was like, I'm just kidding. File 1. It's not like that. But, you're just not the one. You value your time. But because of that, because you value your own time and you're very, like, meticulous about how you run your life and how you do things, you simultaneously carry that respect to other people. You value other people's time and how they do things. But I also feel like you're very persuasive. Oh my gosh, Pilot 2. Like, I feel like this goes in so many different ways because I feel like you're able to be like, yeah, I can see why, like, for example, you're at a restaurant and someone's like, what do you want to get? I'm getting this. And maybe you want that person to get what you're getting. So you'll be like, I'm getting this. I really like what you're getting too. I've tried that before. I really like what I'm getting though. Or like, you're just able to present it in a way that's like, they want to get what you get too. Like you just have a very magnetic way of presenting all of your thoughts and decisions. And it's just like, you could have a lot of Mercury in your chart. So like Gemini and Virgo. And also Taurus, interesting enough. I feel like Tauruses are very convincing. But I think Virgos are even more convincing because it's Earth and also Mercury. And I just feel like that combination calls for somebody who is very... Obviously, you don't have to be Virgo at all, but maybe you have Virgo midheaven. I have a Virgo midheaven, but maybe that could be a placement in your chart. But I just feel like you're very convincing. And I feel like this is a random thought, but I feel like you're very good at interviews or you're very good at phone calls. Maybe you don't like phone calls, Pilot 2, but I feel like you're good at them, if you know what I mean. And I don't know how to say it. You're just very elegant and you're very unique. Wow, Justin, you said unique in a what makes you unique video. But anyways, I just feel like the way you carry yourself is very unique to you. You know, I feel like that's what's really unique about you, Pilot 2, is how you carry yourself. And, you know, whether or not how you feel on the inside, the world does not see that, you know. And simultaneously, I feel like because of that, you're very good at keeping secrets and very good at concealing things. And you're very good at being kind of mysterious. I don't think that anyone will ever truly know your next move. I said this to Pile 1 too, but I think that you are kind of different in the sense that you don't actively tell your business. If you're asked, like, you won't say still. Like, you'll kind of breadcrumb people on that. And it's like, you have this way of, like, someone will ask you a question and you're somehow able to satisfy their curiosity but not actually tell them everything, you know. It's not like you're lying or anything, but it's just like you know what to tell them and you know what they were looking for, you know. It's just like if someone's like, oh, like, what's your favorite subject, or no, what subjects are you taking in school? And it's just like you know that they just want to know if you're in school or not. So you say, yeah, I'm in school, and somehow that'll completely fly over their head. And they'll be like, oh, okay. And it'll completely fly across their head at the fact that you just completely, like, debated them out of crucial information that they probably wanted to know because they're nosy. But, okay, let's get into the tarot pile 2. I feel like I've said enough. Whew. My nose is so stuffy, and I swear if I'm coming down with something, I will destroy everything. That's another thing, pile 2. You might be a very, like, knowledgeable person in the sense that you probably know how to, like, you probably have a cure for everything, you know what I mean? Like, maybe you have, like, a pharmacy in, like, your back pocket, you know. Someone's like, oh my gosh, my stomach hurts or my head hurts, be like, oh, just do this and this, and you need to do this and take this, and they'll, like, feel better. It's like you're like a magic wizard or like a doctor or something. That's kind of the benefit of Virgo. I feel Virgos just always know what you need. But that's because the Virgos have very sensitive bodies, I feel. Ooh, you might also be very good at cooking, pile 2. I feel like your palate or, like, your taste buds is very unique. And I feel like, I don't know, like, I just feel like you're the type of person that's able to just describe things in the most interesting way possible. Like, it makes me think of when Remy was describing kind of like, you know, the visuals of him eating the cheese and the strawberry and kind of like combining them and kind of describing how those things work together. You're able to make anything look good. And this is across the board. It doesn't even have to be food, you know. You're just so good at the advertising game, pile 2. Like, you know exactly what to say to get people, like, you're just so persuasive, pile 2. Anyways, what makes pile 2 unique? What is unique to pile 2? What is unique about pile 2? Oh gosh, card just fell out. Alright. Lots of jumpers from this deck recently, but we have the 6 of Potions, 6 of Cups. It goes back to that humor. Like, when I looked at this card, that immediately made me think of someone who has very good sense of humor, because obviously the 6 of Cups is a very, like, childlike energy and very, like, innocent energy. I just think that this is going to be theme in all of the readings today, but your dynamic is very interesting and very unique to you, pile 2. I told pile 1, you know, you probably have this very childlike energy, but you're not one to be reckoned with or one to be joked with. But I feel like pile 2, you're the kind of person that's like, you won't release, when you set your foot down, you're able to just like I feel like in an argument, you're able to just embarrass somebody. That's not, I don't know if that's the best trait or anything. I have no opinion on that, but I will say it's kind of funny. I feel like if someone, like, argued with you or someone, like, tried to, like, sorry, I need to get the ring in there. Stop, what is it doing? Stop. Did you see that? It was like, anyways, pile 2. I just feel like you're able to extend this childlike energy into everything you do, pile 2. It almost seems as if though you don't take things seriously or you take things too seriously, you know. I feel like you have very two distinct energies in that sense, and that you're able to kind of switch modes and kind of like present yourself differently based on the situation at hand. I feel like when it's time to be serious, you're very serious and you're all invested. But if it's like anything less than serious, you're just joking around and you're messing around and you don't really care. But I also feel like this doesn't mean that you don't. I don't know, like, I just feel like you're a chameleon, Pile, too. Like, I feel like you're so adaptable and so flexible. It's just like you're the type of person that's like, oh, you're doing like 10 things, like you're sweeping, mopping, doing the dishes, and you're also like, I don't know, breaking the code for something and also writing an article and knitting. And someone will be like, hey, like, can you help me? And you'll be like, yeah, I'll be with you in 5 seconds. And you're still doing all these things, but then you're able to like help them too. It's just like you're very good at managing yourself, Pile 2, and you know your limits and you know your boundaries. And you're very good about that, Pile 2. And I think that's very unique to you because your discernment is so sharp and your judgment is so sharp. Like you're just the type of person that knows exactly what to do. And sorry, I just like blinked out. But because my nose is so stuffy right now, I want to blow it so bad, but that's so gross. Anyways, Pile 2. I just feel like you're also able to really put people at ease and you're really able to kind of buckle down when it's really necessary. Like, I said this before, but I don't know how to describe it. You're just able to like help someone loosen up. And I just feel like, oh, with the Six of Cups, you might also have a very good memory, Pile 2. Because obviously it's about like, the past and like looking back on childhood and things like that. I feel like you have a very distinct memory and you're very good at remembering things. Like, I feel like you'll go out with somebody and then they'll be like, can you remind me to do this? And then like 15 minutes later, you're like, hey, don't forget, you need to do this. And they'll be like, oh shoot, I forgot. Thank you. I completely forgot. I forgot I even told you to tell me to remember that. Like they won't even be like, oh, I feel like I'm forgetting something. They won't even do that. You'll just remind them out of the blue. But I feel like because of that, you're just so organized. And you very much run on a schedule. You might be the type of person that has to write things down or kind of like keep a list of things. But let's pull another card. Hold on, Pile 2. I'm going to go blow my nose. That was very necessary. Anyways, Pile 2. Another thing that I was thinking about is you might have very unique music taste. I was thinking about this while I was blowing my nose. I was like, I feel like Pile 2 has very good music taste. Let me tell them right now. But I just feel like they're... Oh my gosh. I feel so embarrassed now. But anyways, Pile 2, I just feel like you have a very unique way of navigating this world. I told this to Pile 1, but like I said, I feel like a theme in all of these readings is going to be about how you do things as opposed to like little things about you that are unique to you. And I feel like doing these readings kind of makes me a little bit like nervous because when you're reading tarot and you don't know who like your audience is kind of like anonymous or it's like mix and matched, it's like it's very nerve-wracking for me because I don't know how it makes sense. I'm just kind of spewing things I randomly think of and like things that randomly come to mind as I kind of like look at the cards. And a bunch of just random things come to mind with this particular reading. Just these 3 cards alone evoke a lot of emotions and a lot of random thoughts. And I feel like Pile 2, your mind is very quick-witted. I feel like you're very fast with it. And I feel like when I say you're fast with it, it's like your mind is always on to the next thing. You're able to literally plan out something to the very last detail, You're able to plan your day to the very last detail, If you're doing makeup or, if you're drawing or anything that requires you to be artistic, you're able to see it to the very end. You're able to kind of detail it as you go. And because of that, it's just the work you may produce in anything that you do is just so meticulous and so very detail oriented. I feel like that's the only way I can put it. Let's pull another card here. I need more context. We have the 5 of Presents. I feel like With the Five of Pentacles, like, obviously, let's be transparent here. The Five of Pentacles is about loss and, like, financial destruction. Not destruction, but, like, I don't know how to, like, just loss, and kind of, like, not gaining. But I feel like this speaks to the fact that you may be the type of person who isn't ruminating. Pile 2, I feel like you're not the type of person to hang on to things too long. With the Six of Potions card and the Five of Presents, I feel like you're very much the type of person that doesn't hold grudges like that. And I feel like very rarely do you hang on to petty little things. I feel like it takes a lot for someone to actually get under your skin like that. I feel like it takes a lot for someone to make you truly bitter. And I feel like it just depends on the energy and who it is that's kind of like, coming at you. And what I mean by that is like, it takes a lot and it takes a specific kind of person to actually bother you and get under your skin. And I feel like with this Five of Presents, you have tolerated some BS in your lifetime. I think that with this anxiety card, you probably have dealt with people that are rude or people who are like not a vibe. But I feel like because of that, your past has made you a lot stronger. And I feel like that's kind of like controversial to say because I think that a lot of people, especially I can even relate to this, it's just like I didn't want to be stronger, I didn't want to be jaded. I didn't want to be put in this position, I just wanted people to be nice to me in the first place. But I feel like because what's unique to you is that you don't let your past define you and you haven't become bitter yourself. You haven't become what you hated and what kind of like may have hurt you in the past, Pile 2. And I feel like that's very unique to you. I feel like that kind of adds on to why you carry yourself the way you do, because it's like you've seen some things, Pile 2, and because of that you're very non-judgmental and very inclusive. And I feel like you just do not tolerate people that want to be rude or mean. And I feel like you're the type of person that like stands up for another person when they're being bullied or something. So because of that, you probably have like this, like, how do I say it? Like you're just very defensive and very protective over the people you care about, and especially yourself. And I feel like you're just very good at arguing. I don't know why that's such a big theme in this reading, but I just feel like you're just not the one. Like, I just want to keep saying that you're just not the one. Like, can I just say that for the next 10 minutes and be like, you're just not the one? And it's just like, you're not one to be messed with, and you're not one to have your time wasted. So, let's pull another card here. I hate saying, like, let me pull another card. Like, I wish I could just be like, but I like announcing it. I like communicating. We have Judgment. That immediately makes, like, when I pull that card, it makes me think of the fact that you probably don't, like I said, Pile 2, you're not, probably a very secretive person, and you're not one that is constantly expressing. It's not that you're lying, like I said, but it's just like, you're not saying all of the deets, you're not saying everything, you're not an open book. And because of that, I feel like you're very good at managing what's going on in your life and kind of assessing what it is that you need to do and what you can do and what it is that you need. Like, you just carry yourself very well, Pile 2. You might be a very independent person. And people probably come to you a lot for advice or, words of wisdom, if you will. But I just feel like, you really are on your own path. And you really are out to get things that you want. And even if you don't know your next step, you know what to do in the moment that will kind of help you figure that out, or you know how to kind of cater to yourself in the moment, or you know what it is that isn't right. I feel like you're very much the first person that's able to understand something's not right here. If you're thrown into a haunted house with a bunch of other people and they're like, oh wow, this is a nice place, you'd be like, something's not right here. And like I said, Pile 2, that might be a curse because you're just like, wow, why can't I enjoy things? But at the same time, I feel like that has saved you a lot of trouble, Pile 2. I feel like you're able to save yourself a lot of time and a lot of mishaps by seeing things from a mile away. And I feel like even when things do kind of like go wrong, you're able to kind of handle them very well and very meticulously, very elegantly. I feel like there's no other person that can really just deal with everyday BS like you. And it's just like, it's very unique to you and it's very special the way you're able to kind of deal with everything and kind of live in the moment. I feel like you don't live in the future or the past. It's like you very understand your past, and it has kind of fixed your lens in a way that you know what to do in the moment, you know? But it's like, I think that you live life as it comes, and I feel like that's very, very bespoke to you, Pile 2. Honestly, I feel like this reading has taken a very deep undertone in a very serious manner. And I feel like that's just because you're special in the sense that despite all of these things that's happened to you, and despite this serious demeanor, once you get under the surface with your personality and who you are, it's like despite all of that, you're still able to be such a playful and, interesting person, someone who isn't bitter and, angry at everything, You just kind of let things go and you're just like, oh, forgive and forget, It's not like that. It doesn't matter. And I feel like you're able to very much discern when things are obsolete to the moment for you. And I just think that it's very special, Pile 2. You don't really realize it, but you're very much the person who's able to forgive and forget very easily. And because of that, it's just, you live a lot lighter. Like, you live an easier life because of that. Because I feel like with the things that you've seen, if you're the type of person that ruminate and hang on to things anymore, like, you would be a lot more heavier, and not like physically, but like, like emotionally, like you'd be a lot heavier, like you'd have a lot more burdens and a lot of things that you're carrying. But I feel like you're able to let those things go and kind of just move along. And that's just so cool. I could never. My Taurus moon could never. I hang on to things too much, and I feel like I let go of things, and it sometimes takes me years or months to let things go, and it could be the smallest things. And I feel like you're just the exact opposite, Pile 2. It's just like 3 days after a huge argument, you're like, alright, it's whatever. I'm just gonna leave that behind. Gonna pull another card. 7 of Needles. 7 of Swords. Oh, I feel like you're able to really pick out liars. Like I said, Pile 2, you're just such a good judge of character. Oh my gosh. I wonder if you're a Virgo moon, Pile 2. I just wonder if you're I almost wonder if you have Virgo in your rising, your moon, or your midheaven. Or even your sun, but I find that Virgo moons kind of keep things to themselves more, But I just feel like you don't tolerate lying, and I think that you're able to know when someone's lying. And I feel like when someone does something wrong, and they do it on purpose, you're able to pick that apart to the very last detail. And I just feel like you just have this way of interrogating and talking to people. And I feel like just the way you interact with people is so cool. Oh my gosh, Pile 2. Like, you're able to make people feel however you want them to feel. I feel like you're so in control over other people's energy. And it's because you may exhibit a very detached energy, Pile 2. You may be a very detached person, and that's not a bad thing, I just feel like you're just a head over heart person, you use your mind for things, you don't feel things through, or when you do, it's after you've thought it through, you use your mind, your mind and your thought process is interwoven in everything that you do in your life. I feel like you rely on your brain and you rely on the facts, Pile 2. You're a very much person that relies on the facts, and you will never speak on something, or you will never do something unless you are very sure, You're the type of person that speaks with background, Be like, oh, you're trying to come at me sideways, or you didn't know that, It's like, actually, that's not that, it's this, You're a very good student, but you're also a very good teacher. I think that you're a better teacher, better than a student. I don't think that other people teach you all the time because you already know. Like, I just feel like you're the type of person that reads up on things, watches videos, documentaries, all these things, You always know what's going on. You're very well informed and very well caught up. Somehow you'll just know about all the latest drama, all the tea, all the stuff, and it's just like, dang, how did you know all that? But I digress. With the 7 of Needles, once again, it's just like, you can spot a deceptive and a bad person from a mile away. And like I said, you're just probably a very good judge of character. And I I don't know, like I just feel like you just don't deal with it. You just don't tolerate bad people. You don't tolerate when someone's rude, when someone's like uninclusive, like obviously racism and like sexism and all these things, they shouldn't be tolerated. Those are terrible things. And I most certainly don't agree with them. And obviously I'm the same type of person. If someone's like saying crazy stuff, I'll be like, girl, give them the side eye. Be like, say something. But I feel like you are the type of person where someone even gives off that vibe, or someone says one wrong thing, be like, girl, what was that? Be like, like, what did you just say? Like, can you repeat yourself? You know what I mean? I feel like if someone came at you sideways, or if they said something under their breath, you would look at them, you snap your head around and be like, you want to repeat that? You want to say a little bit louder? And then they'll be like, I didn't know you heard that, You hear everything, Pilot 2. You're the type of, like, I feel like it's that sense of, like, when your parents scream your name and you scream at the top of your lungs back from, like, across the house and they don't hear you, but then you're walking away and you, like, say something under your breath and your parents are like, what'd you just say? I feel like you're very much that energy, Pile 2, in the sense that no one can get away with anything around you. And I think that's very unique to you. I don't think anyone's able to pick out what someone has done wrong quite like you. I'll pull some more cards here. I'm going to go ahead and pull the last two cards so the reading isn't too long. We have the Ace of Presents and we have the King of Presents. So many presents here. I almost wonder if you're just a good gift giver. Let's just keep it real. But with the presents here, once again, like I want to say maybe you're a very good gift giver, or you're someone who really is just able to surprise people with gifts. But simultaneously, Pile 2, I also feel like this translates to the fact that you're probably very good at managing your money, or very good at juggling different things and different tasks. I feel like your attention span when you're really invested and focused is like laser beam. I feel like that just is the Virgo energy. I get so much Virgo energy from this reading. But it's just like, I feel like a focused Virgo is unstoppable. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a Virgo, when at their best, can multitask. Same with Gemini, obviously that mercurial energy, but I think that Virgo is a little bit more organized than Gemini is. No offense, Gemini, but I really do feel as though you're the type of person that's able to plan something out to the very last end. Like I said, you're like, say your salary is $2,000 a month because you're working, like, I don't know, like maybe you just make like $50 a day. You're able to calculate that and understand how every single dollar, like where everything's going, where all your money's going, what you're going to get next, what you need next, You're very much the type of person that's like, when you develop a grocery list, you're able to get every last thing and you will not forget anything, And it's just like, you always know what you need. You always know what someone else needs. You always know what is like immediately needed in the moment. And it's just like, it's because you don't take... It's because you live in the moment, You don't look in the past, or you don't look in the present. You look, or I mean, not the present, the future. You don't look before or after. You just look during. Because of that, you're able to let things go. You're able to really keep it organized and keep it clean. I feel like, you're probably very good at cleaning, Pile 2. That's just a random thought. But yeah, I just feel like I'm going to wrap this reading up by saying that I just feel like it's very unique to you how you're able to carry yourself, in the sense that you don't let anyone get away with the things that you used to let them get away with. But simultaneously, you're very conscious of your past and where you come from, but you don't let that influence anything that you do, You don't let that keep any bias in you, And it's just like, you're very inclusive even to this day, and you're very sweet, and you're very open-hearted. And, you're open-minded to different things, and you allow people to explain themselves, but you're able to kind of convince them and be persuasive, You don't... It's just like, you're the type of person that's... It's like you're able to get someone on your side and get them to do things your way, because you know what's best for them. And you do that because you want the best for them, And I just think that you're just someone who is very righteous, and that you don't tolerate discrimination, or you don't tolerate anything that is particularly hateful or negative. And people just love that about you, and I love that about you, Pile 2. I wish comment down below, I want to have a convo with you. You're amazing. But you know, you're just very eloquent. You know, it boils down to that card. You're very eloquent and you're very well spoken, and you're just able, you have so much control. You're able to make people feel any way that you want them to, you know? And you're just so, you're also really smart. I feel like your vocabulary is very unique and very special to you. You know, I feel like a lot of times people don't know what words you may be saying, or people are like, oh, what does that mean? Or like people have to like Google words you use in texts. But yeah, pile two, that's really all I have for you. Like and comment, subscribe, comment, especially if the reading resonated. I love hearing how they resonate, because whenever I do the readings, to be fully transparent, I be getting nervous. I'm like, I'm scared that this won't resonate or that this won't make any sense. But at least I know it's just the messenger's job to get the message out there, not make it make sense. But yeah, pile two, before I say thank you so much for watching like a million times, I'm just gonna end it off here. I love you. Bye. Hello, pile three. If you chose this ring, this is gonna be your reading for what makes you unique. This ring's so cool. It spins. Can't really. There we go. But anyways, oh my gosh, doing these readings today has made me so nervous, because I feel like these readings today have just been like me spewing random things about you that are really cool. And I was just like, dang, dude, like, I don't feel like I'm describing anyone in particular. I feel like I'm just describing, like, things that are cool about a bunch of different people. And I was like, oh, I'll be getting nervous. I'm not going to lie. Like, when you're, like, I'm not new to tarot. I've been doing it for, like, 2 years. But when you start doing it for complete strangers or people that you literally know nothing about, it's so scary. Especially when it's, like, for a bunch of people. I'm like, dang, girl. Like, I feel like I know, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, let's get into your reading. We have 2 oracle cards here. We have Wild Man, and we have Trust. Oh my gosh. Not that. So, when I was pulling the oracle cards, your cards were definitely the most different, or the ones that were definitely the hardest to kind of get a grip on for me, as in the sense of like, oh wow, like, what could this mean, you know, or what's going on. But right away, that makes me feel like pile 3, you're just this kind of person that is very mysterious. Definitely the most mysterious cards out of all of the decks, all of the piles today. And when I say mysterious, it's just like literally no one can guess what you're doing. Like, people can try to guess, and it's like, I feel like all the other piles today have been kind of like the same air of like mystery. But it's like people don't even know what your background is. You know, like, you know, whenever you know somebody, it's like, oh, I can tell they went through something, you know. For you, you can't even tell that, you know. No one knows anything about you. No one knows or senses anything about you, because you're so careful with expressing, or, you know, like, keeping your energy to yourself. That immediately makes me think of Scorpio. The whole mysterious, you know, I feel like Scorpios trademark that word. But, you know, I feel like with this Wild Man card, I also feel like you are very, I'm getting a lot of feelings about this, but I want to say first that it seems as if though you're the kind of person that is very vigorous in transformation, or it's someone who is very much into improving themselves, and therefore would want others to improve themselves. And I feel like you're the type of person who believes in hard work. And I think that in the sense that you carry yourself is very, this has been a theme in all the readings today. I'm kind of just announcing all of these things because, you know, I just like doing that. But I feel like all the readings today, what makes you unique is how you carry yourself, you know, and how you're able to kind of, you know, like, move about and navigate this world. And I feel like for you, pile 3, you have a very confident and a very masculine way of approaching the world, you know what I mean, and approaching problems. You know, just because it's like masculine doesn't mean that you have to be a man, you know. It doesn't matter what gender you identify as, or whatever you may identify as. But I feel like regardless of that, it's just this sense of you're very straightforward, and you're very pursuant and very fixated whenever you're determined and motivated. And I feel like your energy definitely seems the most blunt and the most serious, straightforward out of all the piles today. And with this Trust card, I feel like people can really count on you. and people can really like rely on you, you know. If someone asks you for something, you're like the first person, you know. If someone was dying and they were like they have one person to call, they would call you. You know what I'm saying? Like you're just a very reliable and very easy person to count on. But I'll also pile three, not to like get weird or nothing, but I feel like with this wild man card, you very also made me a very attractive person and very like a fierce person. Like you may be a Leo, but I just feel like you have your own little way of navigating this world, and it's very like focused. I don't know how to explain it. Like you're just very motivated. Like your energy is so potent, you know, and you're very determined. I literally keep saying the same words over and over, but I feel like you focus on, I say that because I feel like you focus on quality, not quantity, you know what I mean? You're very much a juggernaut in the sense that you're not willing to try a new method, or you're not really down to try new things if what you've been doing is constantly working for you and to great success. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, I feel like you very much trust your own intuition, and you very much trust the way you do things, you know? And it's just like you're very confident, and you're very how do I say it? You're very confident in your methods, you know? I feel like there's a better way for me to say it, but that's the best I can think of for now. But, you know, it's just a sense of, despite the fact that you're very rigid, I feel like you are a very rigid person, Pile 3. I do think that you are willing to hear people out, and that's probably just very attractive, honestly, but I also feel like that's very special to you in the sense that you're able to kind of stand by your beliefs while also hearing out other people's, you know. You give them their space, you know. You allow them to have their own space in this world while maintaining yours, you know. You don't believe in diminishing other people, to like bringing down others to bring yourself up, you know. You don't believe in that type of stuff, you know. You believe that if you rise, other people will rise. And I feel like because of that, you kind of have this leadership energy, or this kind of expansive, you know, masculine energy to you. Because of that, you're able to very much carry yourself. And yeah, just so, let's just get right into the tarot. Honestly, I feel like there's no other things for me to say. Like, I just feel like this is probably going to be the most straightforward reading out of all of them, all of the piles today. And I almost wonder if that's the kind of person you are, you know. I feel like you just waste no time, Pile 3. You're just like, all right, let's cut to the chase. What's next? Oh my gosh. Turned on the thermostat, and it's finally not like 1,000,000 degrees in my room, because my room gets so hot or cold so quickly because it's so small. Whew. Anyways, what makes Pile 3 unique? What is unique about Pile 3? What is unique about Pile 3? What is unique about Pile 3? What makes Pile 3 unique? Alright. First card we have here, 3 of Candles. Yeah, I feel like you're very one foot in front of the other person. You're very tenacious, Pile 3. Wow, you set really high goals for yourself, and you're able to see those goals out to the very end, you know? You're the type of person that's like, all right, enough planning, enough sitting here doing, you know, like, you're the type of person that's like, let me not say it, let me just do it, you know? I don't feel like you're the type of person that's gonna sit there and be like, hey y'all, like, I'm gonna do this and this and this. You're just gonna go do it, you know? You're like, I'm gonna go do this, bye, and then you go do it. And I feel like with the 3 of Candles, you're very, like I said, one foot in front of the other, but you're just so good at moving at a steady pace, you know? Your endurance and your stamina is unmatched, both physically and mentally. And you're very stable, and you're very meticulous, detail-oriented. But I feel like the detail-oriented isn't to a neurotic degree, you know? You just know what details are important, you know? You know, you'll paint a picture just enough to, just until it's legible, you know? You never do... I think that's kind of funny, though, Pile 3. I feel like you never do more than what's asked of you, but simultaneously that's like... It translates to you never do what's less than asked of you, you know what I mean? You never you, if anything, you will overachieve, but you will never underachieve. You know, I feel like to you success is a very grand thing and something that is very should be polished. I feel like you very much like things to be polished, and you like them to be saturated, and you like them to be well defined. And what I mean by that is, like, if you create something or you complete a task, it's like you're not going to do it half-assed. You're going to make sure that it's done correctly, you know. And maybe because of that, people kind of get annoyed because you're like, oh my gosh, let me just do it. But you really have your own method of doing things, you know, just a complete juggernaut and someone who will do things the way they want to because they know that their method is going to work best. And sure enough, the method that was presented was the best. And I also feel like, just in general, Pile 3, I think that you're at a very pivotal time of your life right now. I feel like maybe like everything's constantly work in progress for you because you're constantly improving things and you're constantly making things better. I feel like you very much like to dictate change. I almost wonder if you're not the type of person that likes to react, that doesn't react to change all that well, or at least change that was like outside of your control. I feel like you're the type of person that's very much, you need change, but you like to make sure the change is called for and you like to make sure it's kind of like justified. And because of that, you very well come off as very in control, and that's why people probably trust you a lot or feel very safe and comfortable around you. And I feel like you just are able to extend your arm to anybody. And I feel like that's just so bespoke to you, Pile 3. It's just that you never let one thing, you know how I was saying how you would let others have a space in the world and you kind of keep your space, not bringing others down to bring yourself up, but, you know, just being and bringing yourself up to know that it helps others rise. I feel like that translates to your inner world and how no one's able to kind of guess what you're thinking or feeling. It's just a sense of you let everything in your own little, like, you let everything in your circle and your feelings and all these realms have space, you know. You're very organized that way, you know. You never overreact, you never do things too much, you know. You don't overindulge, you know. You're very disciplined, and I feel like you've carried this energy for quite a while in your life, Pile 3. I feel like it's an energy that you've practiced from a very young age, and because of that, it's just, I think that this maturity and this discipline is very special to you, and definitely very different from the other piles. I feel like you're just a very, when I say simple person, it's like the beauty in simplicity, you know. It's just, you're very minimalistic and you like when you like to be sophisticated, you know. You don't like to be overstimulated, you don't like to make things gaudy, if you will, or too much. And it's just a sense of you like to keep things 100. You're very honest, Pile 3. You may come off as very blunt, and maybe people kind of get freaked out by that, but they're like, wow, I'm kind of scared to tell Pile 3 what I'm thinking, but you know. But I feel like they're always surprised by how welcoming you are and how open you are to other people's thoughts and feelings and their opinions. I just think that you don't tolerate when people are rude to you. I mean, who wouldn't? But I feel like you're especially just not the one to be messed with like that. I think that you don't even entertain it. I don't think you even argue or anything. I feel like you just leave it all together. Let's pull another card here. Okay. We have 10 of presents. Wow. This is such a pretty card. Look at it. It's like, there's like snakes everywhere. Oh my gosh. But maybe you don't tolerate snakes. Maybe you're just not a reptile person. Or maybe you don't like literal snakes. You know, like, oh, that person's a snake. But I also feel like Pile 3, this is just it, you know. I feel like the 3 of candles plus the 10 of presents kind of just speaks to what you're working towards, you know, and what it is that the goal is, you know. I feel like you very much aim for stability and you aim to live comfortably, you know, and I feel like you're very motivated to the point where you literally will not let anything stop you. And I feel like that's just so special to you, Pile 3. I don't think that you realize that too much, and maybe you do kind of realize to a degree or to an extent, because you kind of realize that other people maybe aren't as consistent as you are. Maybe that kind of gets frustrating. Maybe you sometimes find that you can only rely on yourself, quote unquote, or that you can't really rely on others. But I just think that you can't. It's just like other people probably aren't as consistent as you, and because of that, you've kind of noticed this. But I don't think that it's to the degree that you have realized, because I feel like with this 10 of presents, like, you know, if 3 of candles to me is a very reliable energy, you know, it's a sign of progression and moving things along and actually making progress, doing things that you said you would, or just doing things that you thought you would, you know. It's like you live a very predictable lifestyle in the sense that you know exactly what's going to happen next. This gives me a lot of fixed energy, you know, just Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio, Taurus. And it's just the sense of, you know your next move, pile through. You know your next move and you know what you're going to do next. Nothing or no one can stop you. That's just that. That's how tenacious you are. And that's how, you know, that's how much of a firm grip you have on your own inevitable success. And I just feel like no one else can really match up to the amount of capacity that you have to achieve your goals. And no one can really match up to your courage and your bravery and like your motivation, you know what I mean? Your high levels of energy to do what it is that you want to do. So I'm going to pull another card here. I feel like yours is going to be the fastest reading because I just feel like I said, you're just not the one to waste time, you know? You don't ever waste time explaining things. You don't entertain things that aren't worth being entertained. And when I say that, it's especially important because you know what it is that doesn't need to be entertained, you know? That's how good your judgment is, and that's how much you know things are irrelevant to your lifestyle. Yeah. We also have Temperance. You could be a Sagittarius, but I also feel like once again this just goes back to the fact that you're able to balance things in your life and kind of juggle things and designates, you know, different parts of your psyche and different parts of your routine for different things, you know. You're the type of person that's like, okay, I get coffee at this place every day at 7 a.m. and you'll never let that down, you know. If you tell someone, hey, I'm going to come get you at 7:30, guess what time you're gonna be pulling up? 7:30, maybe even 7:29, you know? If you say you're gonna do something, you're gonna do it because you're just so good at managing your time and energy. And with this Temperance card, it really just, there is no exception. That is the best way to describe it. And I feel like you kind of carry yourself very well. You might be a businessman or like a businesswoman, business person, sorry. Or someone who is very, you know, I said businessman at first because I just think of someone who's very in control and someone who is very well spoken, someone who is very well delegated. Okay, anyways, pile 3. So, I just feel like you're a very stable and a very organized person and someone who is very disciplined and very scheduled, as in like, obviously I said this before. Oh, that just kind of threw me off. Someone freaking rang the doorbell and then I had to go answer it. And I was like, girl, please just give me like 10 more minutes. Just wait out there. Just don't even say anything. Don't even exist. But anyways, file 3. I just feel like you're the type of person that it's like clockwork, you know? When something happens, you just kind of deal with it and then you just like get through it. It really is that simple, you know? I feel like you make it look easy, pile 3. And I feel like that's very unique to you. I feel like that's something that's really unique about you is that you're able to make everything look easy even though it's not, you know. You could be lifting like 100-pound weight and you'll make it look easy, or like you'll go swimming in the ocean and you'll make it look easy. You'll perform on stage in front of thousands and thousands of people and you'll make it look easy, you know what I mean? And there's just something that's really cool about you, you know. You're just very collected and you're very composed, very elegant. And elegant in the sense that you're able to do things with such finesse and such detail without looking like you're paying much mind to it. Let's pull some more cards here. 10 of Needles. That's interesting. I feel like with the 10 of Needles, it does seem as though, because, you know, to be transparent, the 10 of Swords is about endings and betrayal and things like that. But I also feel like this kind of speaks to the fact that you're able to carry things out to the end, you know what I mean? Because we have 2 10s here, and obviously the 10 is about a completion or like the end of a journey. And I feel like the 10 of Needles here speaks more about the fact that you're able to carry something out to the end and kind of see things out. And I also feel like simultaneously you don't tolerate betrayal, and I feel like maybe you have dealt with betrayal and that's kind of motivated you to be even a more like a more trustworthy and a more honest person. I feel like you don't do that anymore. It probably took only like one of these, for like one betrayal, for you to be like, okay, that's not a vibe. And I feel like that only bettered your judgment. You know what I mean? I feel like you're a quick learner. You're someone who doesn't make the same mistake twice. And because of that, it's just so interesting. Oh, I don't know how to describe it. Like, you just never make the same mistake twice. And if you do, like, it most certainly is going to happen a third time. It's like a 99% chance you won't make the same mistake twice, and a 100% chance you won't make it a third time. You know what I mean? And you're very much good at carrying things through. You're just such a reliable person, Pile 3. You know, there's really not much else to say about it. I feel like there's no other way for me to keep rewording this in a way that's like, oh, like, you're so reliable and so, like, organized and stuff. Like, that's really just it, you know, Pile 3. You're very much a person that is focused on the quality, not the quantity. 9 of Potions. Yeah, like, able to just carry out the... You're able to make your own wishes come true. I'm seeing Pile 3, you know. I feel like there is a lot of things that you've accomplished so far that you're very proud of and you're very excited about, or you have a lot of dreams that you want to chase, Pile 3. I feel like, plus the 3 of Candles, it really does seem as though you have a lot of aspirations and you have very high standards and goals, and no one really else can carry them out but you. And it is truly these visions that you have of your future and what you want to do with yourself and what you're gonna be are truly unique to you, in the sense that other people wouldn't be able to hold themselves to that same standard and, you know, remain sane. And so I feel like that is very special to you, Pile 3. And I feel like you very much trust yourself to do so, and, you know, just carry things out with this 10 of Needles, you know. See it to the very end with this 10 of Presents as well, you know. You know, it is the 9 of Cups, and so it's just this sense of you're very close to completing another journey, which is the Suit of Cups. You know, it's one away from the 10 of Cups. And I just feel like, you know, you're very progressive and very slow to learn things, maybe, or maybe kind of like slow to adapt to things, but it's gonna get done, you know what I mean? And you do so in your own manner and you grow in your own way, you know. No one else in this world can really tell you how to do things, but, like, I don't think anyone can truly tell you what to do, Pile 3. I think that's really just it here. I'm gonna pull one more card before I kind of wrap things up. Your reading is about to be super short. Oof. Sorry, y'all. But I also feel like y'all aren't the ones to sit down for a 50-minute reading of the person saying the same thing over and over and over again. We have the Hanged Man. I do think that... I think this Hanged Man kind of talks about what you avoid as opposed to, like, an actual trait of yours. And what I mean by that... Oh my gosh. That was so annoying. That was so embarrassing. What I mean by that is, I feel like with the Hangman, it kind of talks about the fact that you are a very decisive person. I know the Hangman is about being indecisive, but I also feel like Pile 3, you don't really settle at all. I was gonna say something else, but I feel like that's just it. I feel like you don't settle. You're probably a very luxurious person, or someone who refuses to live in anything but luxury. Like, you're the type of person that probably always does name brand stuff, or is just like, I'm not cheaping out. That's just not that. You know when to cheap out, but regardless, you choose not to. And I feel like because of that, you have this very regal, royal energy about you. And I think with the Hangman, you don't settle for little petty victories. You save it all for the big one, you know what I'm saying? It's just like... Okay, this is a very specific analogy, but if you're on a marathon and there's multiple tiny finish lines within the marathon, but you kind of have to go out of your way for those little finish lines, you're not gonna do that. You're literally just gonna run straight through the whole thing to get to the final finish line, the big one. You know what I mean? You don't settle down in the middle of a race, okay? I don't think, like, you're very consistent with it. You know, you remain the same speed the whole time. You know, you don't speed up to get anywhere faster. You don't slow down to get anywhere slower. You don't slow down because you're tired. You pick a pace that's comfortable for you, and you know you won't get tired, but you know you'll get to your destination in a reasonable amount of time. And because of that, that's why I keep saying you're such a tenacious person, Pile 3. Like, you just move with so much purpose and you take inspired action constantly, you know? Every time you do something, it's with intent and for it was meant to do something, you know what I'm saying? And I just feel like that's very bespoke to you. Honestly, you're just a very motivated person, Pile 3. I don't think that anyone has the same amount of capacity as you do when it comes to your dreams, your ambitious nature and your goals, you know what I'm saying? And the way you navigate this world is very direct and you kind of just know what you need to do already. And the decisiveness itself is what's really unique about you, Pile 3. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one else would be able to be as sure of yourself as you are. But at the same time, you don't let that get in the way. You don't let yourself be cocky or, you know what I'm saying? You're very humble at the same time. And that's just so special to you, Pile 3. Okay, Pile 3, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. I love you. Like and comment and subscribe. Especially comment if the reading resonated, because the readings today I was kind of nervous about. I was like, ooh, I hope they'll resonate. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure the message will find those who needs to, but you know, sometimes things happen. So yeah, before I say thank you so much for watching, I love you like a million times, I'm gonna end it off here. Bye.